Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at what is essentially a masterclass in leadership under fire. We're going to dive into a press conference with Sheffield Wednesday manager Henrik Pedersen, who is navigating his club through a crisis that, honestly, could break most teams. But this isn't just a story about a club falling apart. Nope, it's really a playbook for how to find strength right in the middle of the storm. So, an intensive storm, but still with a big clarity. That's the manager, Henrik Pedersen. And those words, wow, they just perfectly capture this incredible paradox, right? I mean, how on earth do you find focus and a clear path forward when everything around you is just chaos? That's the big question we're going to dig into today, right? So to get that clarity, first we've got to understand the pressure. We have to really dig into what this intensive storm actually is. So what's this storm all about? Well, it really boils down to one huge problem that's crippling the club from the outside in. What's the one thing a football club absolutely has to do to get better? Sign new players, right? And, well, right now, Sheffield Wednesday, they just can't. Yeah, the club is slapped with a transfer embargo. And that's the absolute heart of the problem. I mean, they're literally blocked. They can't bring in new players, and as Pedersen himself said, they can't even get new coaches on board. It's a total lockdown on new talent. And the crazy thing is, this isn't about bad tactics or players losing form. The root cause is all about financial stability. Basically, the club has to prove to the English Football League, the EFL, that they've got the cash to pay their own people. It's that fundamental. And that kind of off-pitch drama, it creates massive problems on the pitch. But, every crisis comes with a choice, doesn't it? You can sit there and worry about what you've lost, or you can look at what you've still got. And Pedersen and the club, they chose the latter. They're turning this huge, crippling limitation into a massive and pretty unexpected opportunity for their youngest players. 5. Just let that number sink in. In one single cup match, with their hands tied, unable to sign anyone, the club threw 5 academy kids into their senior debut. Not spread out over a season, all at once, in one game. And it's the sheer scale of this that's so important here. It was born out of necessity, sure, but it meant the club had to put all its faith in its own homegrown talent. You can only imagine what a moment that was for those young players. And for the club, it was a real glimpse of a new future, one born directly out of this crisis. And this quote from the manager just says it all, really. It's the whole philosophy in a nutshell. See, he's not waiting for them to be ready. He's literally throwing them in the deep end, creating a situation where they have no choice but to learn to swim. It's definitely high risk, but it shows this incredible faith he has in them. But this whole thing, it goes way deeper than just giving some kids a chance to play. What Pedersen is doing is he's strategically using all this external pressure to build something unbreakable on the inside, a real team culture. This is where you see true leadership. Okay, so this slide really breaks it down perfectly, doesn't it? You see on one side, you've got the storm, all the external pressures. But on the other, you have the foundation, the internal response. Every negative is being flipped into a positive. The transfer embargo, that becomes an opportunity for young players. The financial uncertainty, that's used to build a stronger culture. It's like he's turning poison into medicine, creating what he calls a fantastic fundamental for the future. And here's the result of all that. Think about it. In situations like this, teams usually start pointing fingers, falling apart. But here, that pressure is actually squeezing them closer and closer together. The senior players are stepping up, mentoring the young ones. They're building this powerful bond because they're all in it together. So how do you actually pull that off? What's the mindset? Well, Pedersen seems to have this really clear 4-step process. First, you just face the situation head on. No hiding. Then you ask, okay, what can we learn from this? That totally reframes it, right? From there, you can start working forward with some positivity, ready for whatever's next. It's a simple but powerful way to build resilience. Okay, so the internal culture is getting stronger. That's great. But the storm outside, it's still raging. So how do you stop your players from getting distracted by all that chaos? The answer is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly effective. You just narrow their focus down to the one thing they can actually control. And believe it or not, the crazy, relentless schedule of games is actually a blessing in disguise here. Just like Pedersen says, they're so busy, there's literally no time to focus on anything else. They don't have the luxury of worrying about the embargo when there's another match in just a few days. Their job forces them to stay in the moment. And this right here, this is the absolute core of the manager's strategy. He's basically creating clarity for his players by making their world very, very small. All that matters is the training pitch and the next match. Everything else, all the noise, is outside of their control, so they're trained not to waste a single drop of energy on it. All right, so where does all of this leave the club now? I mean, they've built this incredible foundation of unity and toughness, but let's be real. The storm hasn't passed. Not by a long shot. They are still right in the middle of it. So this is very much still an ongoing story. The transfer embargo, still there. The club is working hard to fix the money problems, but they're not fixed yet. But what they have built is a culture that's tough enough to handle this pressure. And a whole new group of young players has been given this incredible shot they probably never would have gotten otherwise. So the foundation is strong, even if the building itself is still shaking. And all of this leaves us with one really big question. We've seen how incredible leadership and a powerful mindset can create something really positive, even out of a terrible situation. But let's be honest, in the cutthroat world of pro football, can a strong culture really be enough to overcome a massive financial crisis? Sheffield Wednesday is the live test case for that very question, and you can bet the entire sport is watching to see what happens next.